My webinar is Build to Scale, Design and Implement Winning Startup Strategy with SAFE. So my name is Chanchala Joshi and I'm a certified Scrum Master with with SAFE. So SAFE Certified Scrum Master 6, version 6, and it's also now called Agile Coach. So I've been Scrum Master, working as Scrum Master with IBC and working on some of the implementations that IBC is performing right now. I'm also founder of a non-profit organization which is called Mano Lahari, Flow of Mind. The purpose of this organization um, is to raise awareness of mental health in general and so healthcare in particular, basically so healthcare. Let's move on to next slide. So today's key topics are three key topics: startups deliver value, then challenges of thinking safe for startups, and the third point is designing safe for startups. So though my subject says, my title says that I'm going over implementation, though I have limited it to only one slide because we don't have enough time. So without doing further, without any further ado, let's get into the real topics. So how startups deliver value. So this is a core slide here. So startups deliver value through a lot of different ways. So the core thing with startups is it has a core value it delivers is innovation. So what is innovation? Innovation is a rapid experimentation or bold experimentation, right? So people have freedom to do experimentation when they are not attached to a large organization. So if it is lightweight in a lean startup, as in lean startup, the innovation happens really quick. So what are we experimenting on and what are the ideas? Basically, there are a lot of business ideas that float around, right? So we already know, like you just pose a question on Twitter or Instagram and ask people, okay, this is a problem I'm facing. Can you give me an idea? So a lot of people will come up with thousands of ideas. It's not very difficult to gather ideas. Ideas are free falling. We have our brain and in our brain itself generates hundreds, thousands of ideas per day. I don't know. We think 50,000 thoughts in in one day, and out of those, there are a lot of them because we're focused on business. So a lot of business ideas already generate in our head, right? So there are a lot of ideas. So like Thomas Alva Edison said, vision without execution is a hallucination. So there are a lot of ideas that turn into vision, vision for someone who is actually caring for delivering some service or some value to the public in general or people in general or ecologies or anything for that matter, anything, any for any cause, right? So just having an idea is not any good. So we have to have a proper execution plan for it. So that's where building a startup with the proper idea, the proper way is always a better idea. So if I have to give sorry, somebody is talking. Can you, Kumar? Can you mute yourself, please?
Oh yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So innovation, we were talking about innovation. So one example, can anyone say an example of innovation? So the best idea that comes to our mind when we talk about innovation is, okay, Airbnb, right? Then there is a Dropbox. So Dropbox started with a small idea with service in mind. So the service is in mind they had is to provide a viable solution for storage problems people face. People used to use emails as a storage unit with large attachments in the past. So how to solve that problem was the problem Dropbox started with. So over time they developed, and then um, over time they delivered this startup like Dropbox. So the story of Airbnb or Netflix are also very interesting. So we can go into detail about those. You can read it on the internet. But one that impressed me was, Airbnb. So Airbnb was started by two people, and then they actually started as a service to provide accommodation to someone. They were students, so they were struggling for with lack of money. So they provided accommodation when a conference happened in San Francisco area. So that gave that idea that they should extend this. So they leveraged the existing technologies. They jumped into building up their startup, and then from there they scaled like anything. So within few years, they've challenged the entire hotel industry. Like, so they were third in after Marriott and Hilton. So in multi-billion dollar startup they became into. So how did that happen? That is one of the example of a disruption, right? Providing extraordinary service, and you knock out an existing business out of your way, like you knock out a business. So that's the example of a disruption. So innovation, disruption are two key things that startups deliver. So if the idea is good, then it is helped by a lot of technological advancements like platform business model. And then um, there are there are five foundations for digital transformation. One is like this. The short form is CCDIV: customers, competition, data, innovation, and value. Right. So these are the five core values of digital transformation. Um, Data here means big data. So customers, of course, like the discovery of customers has gone a very long way now. So how do you identify your customer segments? Right. So it has gone a long way now. So technologically, it's so very advanced. So you identify customer by profiling, what we call know your customer approach. So you collect the information. So it's like, from being a visitor to turning them into customer, it is a journey. So customer journey, you have to record and then identify the customer segments. So customers is one of the core things that any startup has to actually identify. Then competition. So competition in mind, like the competition in the past had to be has was cutthroat competition. Now it doesn't exist anymore. That concept of cutthroat competition, finish my rival, all those kinds of things are gone now. So it has turned into coopetition or frenemy, what you call. So you are my friend, but you are also my enemy, but that's a bad term too. So best word right now is coopetition. Instead of competition, it's a coopetition. So you cooperate. So because you identify the similar business that do the similar kind of business as you want to do, then cooperate with them. Find out either whether you can actually get any value from them, and whether you can add any value into their business. So that's how you can start in the beginning too. Then when it comes to data, big data always provides a lot of information about your customers, the business aspects of it. Like it helps in the modern digital transformation a lot. So then innovation, then value. So how all these innovative businesses, like I'll give you one example of a disruption, like how Netflix disrupted completely the operation of a video provider, like a recorded video provider called Blockbuster. They approached Netflix, people approached Blockbuster with their idea when it was at a very beginning stage. They just had to put together a business case, and they had approached a Blockbuster. But Blockbuster was very old in thinking, or they were undergoing a lot of operational overheads. They had these late fees, when you return the video, they charged you late fees. So their charges were also very high. So they were not able to properly provide the customer value. They were struggling with operational values. That was the time when Netflix approached them, and uh, they um, they provided a business case, but Netflix was not in a right frame of mind, I believe. So they rejected that idea. So then Netflix went on their own, and they created this magical giant what we use in our day-to-day life. So that is one of the best examples or disruption that the modern startups provide, the lean startups provide. And then coming back to Airbnb example, like how Airbnb delivered the value, like how, because of the efficiency in the infrastructure they created. So they, right from day one, they knew what they were doing when they wanted to scale. Actually, probably they were business students or executives already in their mind, right? So they leverage the existing technology beautifully. So they came up with a business. They picked their business model in the beginning as a platform business model right away, then and there. And then uh, so what is platform business model? So like it is, there is a payer and there is a payee, there is a middleman. So they, earlier in the past it used to be called a middleman type of business, right? So now the latest terminology is platform business model. But remember, platform business model is aided by a lot of help now. For example, like the platform business does not own any asset as such. For example, Uber comes to my mind. Uber does not own one car, ask me, right? So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. So it doesn't own one car. Airbnb does not own one house or one property, at least in the Airbnb name. Their investors might have invested further into real estate. That's a different thing. But as a business, it's a platform business. The beauty of it is the technology has empowered a common person, like, to come up with such a, like, complex business idea because of the all the innovation or technological revolution that has happened in the industry. So um yeah, so coming back to my point, then this platform business model was the choice they made. And then there is a payer, there is a payee. So someone who wants to rent and someone who is a host, right? Who's hosting the property. So they pay the platform business, like, people, they pay Airbnb, but Airbnb has the overhead of operating all these things. So they charge a fee. We can't blame them as well. But at the end, you see, like they actually knocked out several of the hotel business and hospitality industry altogether, because in earlier people used to rest in the hospitals. Now they can accommodate, they can get accommodation through Airbnb. They can opt for a swimming pool, independent house based on their financial health. So it has given us a lot of freedom. So when you think about startup and then innovation and delivery of value, so you get really excited, and I can rant about it on and on, but I have taken enough time. So, but this is the core slide here. So how the startups are delivering value because of the agility they have, right? So um, the agile development, so deliver value in increments, short increments, and then scalability, right? So because of technology advancement, scalability also has become very handy. So once you know all these puzzle pieces, sorry about that. Once you know all these puzzle pieces, then you can think or dream of starting your own business, your own startup. So that's the core focus for me. Okay, someone listening to my webinar today get motivated to start something on their own. And then if you can send me a response, like how it went for you, did you think about it? That will be a great. That will be great. I'll post my email at the end of this webinar, so you can send your response to me. So, are there any questions? I'll take question in the middle, and then I can also take question in the end. If anyone has any question on this slide. Okay, let's move on to the next slide now. First, so building a startup. So the core topic is very important. So let's get started with the core design principles and how to accommodate all these things using the SAFE framework. That is the core thing we are talking today. So building startup, these are the 6 basic things that we need in a startup. Like to start with this basic information we need to have a startup. Now anybody who has a proper idea of what they are planning to do, next day they can start, because there are deliveries for food business, For example, I came up with an example this morning, just like on the fly, like to share this with you. So like if I have to start up a food business, or like I where I dream of delivering healthy food to all everyone in the world actually. So that's, I want that to be so scalable that like everybody in the world gets the healthy food, right? So if I have that statement here, so what I am doing, I'm planning to provide a healthy meal plan for everyone and deliver it, right? How do I do? I use a subscription service. Just platform business model also will do, but I don't want to complicate it at this time. Just one way, like where I have a subscription followership, and then people who walk into my place, or whatever it is. So how I do it, I use a subscription model and pay, like direct payment model. So then why I am doing it? I Because all health and enthusiasts, right, in the world, they have to be benefited by this. All people who are suffering from malnutrition, whether they overeat or undereat, right? So it's the same problem for me to solve. So, so why am I doing? Is that clear? So that is the value statement. That is a derivation of value statement. Earlier, it used to be called a mission statement, right? So company statement, company mission, or organization mission statement, there were several words that were used, but as of today everything is like revolving around value. So it's a value statement. So in one sentence, if I have to put value statement, okay, what I am doing, I am delivering healthy meals
So I have a
through a
question.
subscription based. Yes,
Uh,
go ahead.
so on the value statement, you have in the center, you have a why, right? Why
Mhm.
can you call this as a burning? What is the burning platform? What is the burning points or pain points? That's what we came up with a the vision statement or value statement, right?
That's
What is
right.
the main problem statement? Like, no, what is the main problem? The pain points.
Correct.
So
So basically in startups, you're trying to solve you're trying to get at two things. One is you are providing services that solve someone problems that helps you with anything else, right?
yeah.
So it's either service or I mentioned one other thing, kind of forgot. So provide a service or solve a problem. Sorry, you were talking about the second part of it.
Yeah, the
So
problem statement. I'm talking about the what exactly the problem you're trying to solve it, right? That is
correct, correct.
the okay.
Correct. So that is what you are doing. Why are you doing this business in the, you have to answer this question, whether you are to jot it on a piece of paper, or when you are eating at a restaurant, write it on a sheet of tissue that it was provided to you. So whenever you get that idea, start writing. Why are you doing this? Why you want to do this, right? So
Yeah,
then how part of it? How part of comes next? So how are you going to accomplish it? How are you going to generate your ideas, right? So how are you going to accomplish what you want to do? Then what is that you are trying to solve? So why, how, and what? So putting it all together, you create a value statement in
sure.
one or two sentences. That is the core focus, because it is like from all these funneling things, like thousand ideas coming to your mind, you are streamlining it and bringing it into one solid value statement for your startup. Okay. Then after value statement, we have business canvas model. Like let me um, show it in detail here. So like business canvas model was developed in 2010. Year 2010 was the first time it was, I forgot the name of the person, I apologize. But then it was then later used by someone who wrote a book called Lean Startup. Anyone remembers the name? His last name is Ries, Ries. Okay. So so he used it in the Lean Startup book that he wrote. So within 1 year, he used this concept and he wrote and he became very successful. So when you draw a business canvas model, you are like attend to these blocks of questions. So you sit down again, with a key partner. Who are your key partners? You had an idea now to provide healthy meals to general people, all the people, possibly all the people in the world, right? So then you key partner, you who are your key partners? You have a small idea, and you want to make it scalable. So that's the core focus of today's seminar, right? Start small and scale, right? So from this small thing, you want to build it big. So identify your key partners, but always think small to begin with, right? So key partners. So if I am opening this kind of like food delivery, I at least need a kitchen. So for that, I need some investors to invest in my idea. So it could be bank, or it could be, it could be any angel investors or anyone interested in your idea. So key partners you have to identify. Then what are the key activities that you perform on day-to-day basis? So these key activities finally they will lead into your business. Value stream, basically building your continuous delivery pipeline or value stream. Then who are your key resources? What are your key resources? Human resources, talent wise, do I need a recipe developer? Do I need a nutritional specialist? And do I need like technology staff to develop my platform, right? So our subscription model. So all those things you jot down here in key resources. And then core thing is the value proposition here. So the why and how and what you have thought here, you can bring here. Why are you building, right? So why you're building it? So it is giving you certain list of value. It is giving you value proposition. So make a list of value proposition here. Then add customer relationships, channels. Channels could be like, people calling your, your business for food delivery. It could be people walking in your, if you have a sitting place to eat, if you have a restaurant kind of setup. And then
So,
the mobile model, like are they using an app to order your meals? So those are the kind of channels. Yes, Kumar, any question?
yeah. So the value proposition, I know I worked in Six Sigma process. They use value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Is that can you just elaborate what is a value proposition, or maybe is that related to returns on invest ROI, right? Is that ROI, or is that something
See,
what you're spending and what you're
no,
basically?
for a minimal lean startup value, you don't have to bring in all those Six Sigma or safe construction or anything. Just like, whatever you wrote on a tissue paper is the value proposition. Okay, today I am I able to see, ask yourself this question. Am I able to deliver food? Do I have the infrastructure to do it? So what is at the bare minimum, what do I need? Right?
Okay.
So value proposition can be 1 hour webinar in itself. Like it's a very, very like, a complex thing to identify. If you are building a really complex technology business, or, something like, using big data, statistics and all that complexities involved, then it can be really, really difficult. Like you have to spend a lot of time on value proposition. But if you're starting small, right? So like here in this case, like, in case of this small example that I gave you, the value proposition is okay. The first goal is I have to deliver healthy food. So what do I need for it? So all this you would have to put in. I will show you my slide that I created here. Are you able to see it?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So nutritionally balanced meals is the value that I am providing. Here I don't list anything. It's one.
Right.
Remember, it's one small canvas, or it can grow into wall size canvas also over time. But today, as of today, it's starting small, right? So nutritionally balanced meals is the first one. Convenience of home delivery is the second value I'm providing. And the cost effectiveness is the third cost value I am providing.
But
So
can you quantify that? I mean,
quantification
usually.
is the next step. Yes, we have to quantify as you start like, building your business cases and all those kind of things. You have to work on those. But the core purpose of is to streamline your idea, right?
So that's it. Now, right now, you are talking about qualitative analysis, right?
Yes.
Qualitative, not
Mhm.
not the. Okay, okay,
No, because this canvas model is like, one small model, you begin it on one sheet of paper. So we are talking about here, the core focus is not about how I like build a complex business or whatever it is. Here it's like, here it is starting small and scaling, ability to scale using the safe model I am proposing,
okay.
safe business principles I am proposing. That's the core focus here. So started on a tissue paper in a restaurant, right? Because I'm eating so much of cheese and cream and all that kind in this. Let me provide proper nutrition to people, and that too something that tastes good. So here I should add here nutritionally balanced meals and at the same time tasty meals, right? So that brings to my next resource. Okay, how do I deliver tasty meals? I need to have a lot of um, uh, people who can develop recipes for me, right? So using all nutritional ingredients, right? So
Mhm.
um, then next is customer segments, all those uh, com- complex items you can go on adding. So customer segments, if you want to identify busy professionals, right? Especially working women professionals, they face this issue on day-to-day basis. So if you are good enough to solve their problems, yes, busy professionals can benefit from it, because always as a family we want to feed our family members with healthy meals, no question on that, right? So then fitness enthusiasts, jumping up and down, always building their muscles, or so it can be customized meals. So it can grow, add to too many complexities, but to keep it simple, yes, some tasty healthy meals. And then to people with the dietary restrictions, so these are our customer segments. So you can start with one segment, just start with one busy professionals or someone somewhere who interested you, people with dietary restrictions. You can start, you have your own parents or your family members who are dealing with dietary restrictions. How are you going to help them? So I pick up from that. So from thousands of ideas that are coming to your mind, to chart them, shorten them to one, or to minimize them to one or two. So that's where this business canvas model, the concept itself is to bring focus into your thoughts, right? By writing this one simple thing, you get a lot of clarity with your business ideas. Okay. Now next, at the simplest, I need to know what are the outcomes or KPIs, right? So let's start with one channel that I'm building small kitchen in my own kitchen, and then I'm catering to someone with diabetes today, right? Then how do I start? I start in my own kitchen. Then basic minimum, bare minimum thing with a minimum investment I can do is start a website. Then if I'm starting with a website, so it comes with a one simple page setup, right? So with that, I can define my KPIs in a year, right? In let's target is 3 months or 6 months, right? In 3 or 6 months, what are the KPIs I can think of this small kitchen for me right now, right? So it's the conversion rate. So someone who gets interested in first of all, I have to send it to social media, in my within my own means, right? I have to talk to people in some of the food groups or something like that, and then bring the customers to my website. And then conversion rate is one of the KPIs metrics I can measure in 3 or 6 months. So from visitor to customer, that journey you capture in a KPI. So it's called conversion rate for a web page. Then bounce rate. How many people who visited? 10,000 people visited because I had a marketing campaign, and out of them only 5 people signed up, right? So that's the bounce rate. So bounce rate is one thing. Then average session duration. People, how many minutes or how much time do they spend on my web page? So as I start growing ideas, I can give more ideas, how importance of nutrition, food, and the things are unlimited. There are unlimited ideas that you can come up with to retain your users on your web page. So average session duration, we want to elongate it as much as possible. We want it to increase, right? Then page load time and things like that. So pick one idea and then work on these KPIs to begin with, right? Then build a value stream. So actually, Dr. Wiseline and Paul from IBC, they actually created a webinar for 1 hour. They gave a webinar, almost 45 to 50 minutes, I think. So they speak about what is value stream, how to build one, how to automate it. So when you get a chance, please check that out, because I don't have time to go through value stream at this point of time. But there is a video already made, so I suggest, I have put it in the reference link at the end. So please check that one. And Now to make it so simple, right? So like I mentioned, startup is, or innovation or startup is a experimentation. So you quickly build something. For in this case, with all these values, with all these business canvas, business model canvas, BMC it is called. Now in safe world, it is called a portfolio canvas. So with this one, with all these things that we just wrote down as a canvas, um, the lean startup helps picking one idea right away. So the one idea right away that came to us right now is, okay, first of all, out of all the channels I listed, let me start with a phone one for that matter, or web page for that matter. So you can start with the phone also, right? Provide your phone numbers, post it, go around your apartment complex, go around your community centers, the temples you visit, or church you visit, or any kind of synagogue, or whatever you visit, mosque, synagogue, wherever you are going, your community centers, whatever activities you are in, post of your phone number there, and then you that's the first step in building. But are you able to take calls? So that you have to filter out. So that is a measure, you measure, build and measure, and then learn. So first time you won't get too many calls, right? So only out of so many people, 5 people may call you, and then start gathering their requirements. You can be you can play very innovative there. So when someone calls, jot down. So your requirement gathering starts there. So and then bunch them up and then cater to them. You can play a little bit. Okay, what they are asking right now, I'm just joking here, but what they're asking, oh sorry, I don't have that, and keep the phone, and then like that you can start building it. So build, measure, and learn. So the lean startup always starts like that, right? So but we already know we have a lot of infrastructure that we want to leverage. I have hundred thousands of investment for me, so I can do it much better way. But even as a simple person to trying to solve a world problem can actually take the first step, right? So that is the core spirit one should have for a startup. Then you from there, like I was saying, build a community out of it. So you start writing the people. So you can always be kind and let them know, okay, sorry, I gave your number, I'm trying to do this one, and then I need your help with this. So if you can start taking down numbers from them, so you can start build your own community right then and there. Did that make sense, this whole slide?
Yeah. So this is the agile term, right? The OKRs, the
Yeah.
the objectives and key results. So that should be the part of the value stream domain, right? On this
Yes.
area, the value
Yes,
stream area.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Value stream is a very, very interesting. It interests me a lot. You can simplify it also, and you can complicate it also. I mean, you can make so much of things out of it. Automations, scaling when it comes to the way Elon Musk scaled his business, the way Facebook scaled its business, right? So all that you can learn from value stream actually. So
Mhm.
yeah. Other than that, any other question from anybody else, or do you have any other further questions, Kumar?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So here you can see, I'm trying to explain the challenges of thinking safe for startups and SMBs. So we are all certified, except one or two. We are all certified, safe professionals. Some are Scrum Masters, some are implementational. They have achieved all the way to SPC level. So one thing, is everyone agrees that, okay, first your first certification, how much did you get? Did I get this right? Did I get that right? Did I get this right? So these kind of things, you start worrying about, right? Because it's a very there is a huge learning curve involved, because scaled agile framework is meant as a framework for um, building enterprises basically, or as a dual operating system where one operating system exists already, so you are building it as a extension to it for just innovations, like the rapid prototyping and innovation and disruption, that kind of thing. Like earlier I mentioned an example, right? Like how Airbnb actually knocked out, meaning several of the hotel people, like except for Marriott and Hilton that stayed on top two places, the Airbnb took the third place. So, so it is kind of like that kind of thing put lot of industry people in worry. Actually, hotel people's tails were on fire actually when they saw Airbnb suddenly on the third in their list, right? So they started coming up with ideas. So that's where scaled agiles and safe framework they started coming up, right? So because they had to innovate, otherwise they were going to lose their business big time. So how do they innovate, right? So how do you think Hilton or Marriott innovated after they saw the success of Airbnb? They started planning, so much, like they started altogether a new business innovation business model. So they started thinking about, okay, earlier we used to do get a lot of money from conferences and all in Hilton and all. Now no more, right? Like with this Airbnb is able to do everything, so they were on fire actually. So that's where all this dual operating system in safe and all came into being. So learning curve is big and overhead is a lot because it's meant to cater to like large enterprises. Then cost and resources, you can imagine certification, training your staff and all those kind of things. Then next challenge is, if you see the big picture, let me walk you quickly here through the big pictures so that helps this presentation. Yeah, so this is called big picture, right? So if you see the big picture, so the essential, which is supposed to help the startups, essential configuration does not provide a portfolio thing. So the basic level you have to start at, because innovative companies or startups are very strategic. So without having a strategic theme or portfolio vision, how I'm going to build, right? So essential configuration does not include the strategy for product backlog. So that's the biggest challenge. So we have to start with building a portfolio backlog. So that is one of the challenges. Why did this stop? The PowerPoint I was on here. Okay. Yeah. So then any other challenges that you can think of? There are a lot of best practices suggested by best practices, key principles, pillars of safe. There are tons of best practices and things we need to follow when we are using scaled agile framework. So that is very intimidating to begin with, because it's not a cultural fit for startups, right? So I'm an experimenter. I just get up and I build something, I measure, and then I implement. And then from measure, I learn, and then I come up with another iteration. So is my product ready for release? I can do it in stages. I can release it to one or two friends first. Then I can go with 5 people. Then I can release it to 10 people, right? So that cultural thing is intimidating when you start doing safe, but don't have to worry. Actually, everything you can actually use your creativity and then tailor it. I'll just show you how to tailor that one in next few slides. Then coordination effort is also one of the biggest challenges of safe for a small startup, because you as such, why do I worked in a corporate world for 21 years or more, right now it's 25 years, 26 years. So why do I go back to that overhead of bureaucracy, red tapeism, and all kind of things that comes with a large organization, right? So, and then this coordination effort of coordinating art train, conducting one PI, ceremony, it can be so complex. So I want to leave all that behind and I want to do a startup. Then why I'm bringing it back again, right? So that is the question you have to answer yourself. Okay, so there are some of the design considerations. So first of all, we have to follow some core safe principles, right? So everything in safe around revolves around these core principles of safe. One top principle that we can adhere to is lean agile. That's one of the core things. And then second one is flow, basically. So SAFe ensures a flow at every stage, right? So customizing SAFe, we have to customize SAFe like I was mentioning, because it gives so many things, hundreds, if not thousands of components. How do I fit it, right, to my needs? Then scalability you have to consider. Then define some of the processes and define your value stream. Integrate with the lean startup methodologies. Then cultural alignment. So like I mentioned, culture, there is a big shift in cultural values, cultural things. So how do I align it, right? So these are the things that we need to consider when you are doing SAFe for startups. So here there is some suggestions here for a startup. So basically we have to come up with a list of what to keep, what to customize, or what to defer, right? So keep is at the bare minimum level what I want to keep to start building my startup. Then customize, and in the long run I want to start with 1 or 2 people today, or at least say 15 Silicon Valley startup people. Then I want to build my art. So in order to build an art, at least 50 people are required. It can go up to 200. Once the number of people exceeds 200, then it will become a second art, right? So you can imagine, like in one simple company, there could be hundreds, if not thousands of arts. So those many employees you have to handle your designing, but you are bringing it down to a startup now. So you're starting with only 5 to 10 people, let's say, right? With all these, like brains filled with all these ideas. And then how do we adopt SAFe so that in the long run, I don't have to go on doing a rework. In order to avoid in order to get the benefits of reusability and avoid repetition, or bring new altogether a new technology, should be just a plug-in and a plug-in kind of situation, right? Plug and play, rather what is called plug and play in recent terms. So what we are keeping, like I mentioned, in the big picture, right? So in the big picture, I already showed that one.
So I have a question on
Yeah,
the
sure.
lean principles, right? Lean is minimizing the waste, right? How we utilize the lean principle, saves lean principle in startups. So
Yeah,
basically,
that's a coming up in the next slide,
okay,
actually.
okay.
Yeah. So basically, from the big picture, what I was I showed you is strategic themes and vision items are a must to keep, right? Because we are full of ideas and we're trying to create vision items and strategic themes out of it. Then lean startup cycle comes into picture. Build, measure, and learn. Here, this itself, is a minimal version of SAFe, right? So it is supposed to avoid waste. It is supposed to avoid all the kinds of things you are mentioning, and establish proper flow of work,
Okay.
right? So lean always helps. So the core principle that SAFe is built is based on lean, so it's already taking care of it. Only thing we need to take care is, for a startup we have to adopt that, so that waste is avoided. Then epics, right? So epics are a minimum. So you can start with just one epic, then build a portfolio backlog. So your idea started on a tissue paper. Now build a portfolio backlog out of it, right? After you did all that canvas and all. Then value stream, you build a value stream, and then you build a portfolio canvas, right? In SAFe, it is called a portfolio canvas, and then it's a business canvas model. What do we customize? Portfolio cadence. So minimum at least three ceremonies, sorry, 3 things we need to maintain for cadence, maintaining the cadence throughout your organization, right? So portfolio build up, portfolio review, and then funding the portfolio review, performance review. So keep it to bare 3 minimum cadence structure in your organization to begin with. Don't worry about iteration and all at this point of time, because you're just building up your vision items and strategic things. Then create a product roadmap. You can customize that one too. Then you can customize continuous delivery pipeline and DevOps. So you're building a company that is scalable starting from day one. Use DevOps from day one, right? At the stage of execution. Then what we can defer is art. Is art must for a startup, for any organization? No, art is not a must when you are beginning and building the top items, like the upstream items, what we call, because SAFe itself has a river like structure, right? So like it starts from the top, it flows through. So then you can defer it for the till you grow up that much. Then solution train, then lace, all these things you can defer, and all other components from this big picture, right? So you build these, then it flows like this in SAFe. It has a snake like structure or river like structure. So when your backlog is good enough to deliver the minimum viable product, when your organization ready for iteration, then you bring in Scrum or whatever the method. But rest of it you can follow Lean Agile using Kanban. So that brings us to this next slide. So keep things start small, just have one value stream and one epic. Build with build one epic. The definition of our example that we took. Okay, so let's keep it short now. And so there are hundreds and thousands of SAFe components, and then how do we customize it for SAFe? So we some of them we keep, and some of them we customize, and some of them we defer. So start small, one value stream and one epic. Build one value stream and one epic. Okay, so that is a way to yeah, that's the way to scale. Next, so if we have one epic, what is the journey it goes through when it goes through the SAFe lean startup cycle? So first, it is in explore state, right? So when it is in explore state, what are we doing there? So we are doing brainstorming, like I mentioned, talk to your friends, express your ideas. Then there are conduct market research, what people are really looking for these days, try to solve their problems. Then there are some feasibility studies that you can do, right? So feasibility studies you can come up with. So that is the exploratory phase. And then when you have a proper portfolio backlog setup, then when one of your portfolio backlog item is ready to build, start building right away. So build, measure, scale, and build, measure, and this should have been learned actually. Sorry, this was one typo here. This should have been learned. I might have to re-record this anyways. So I'll re-record. Maybe I'll use another open slot from IBC to record a proper video. And then I will post it. So this should have been learned here. So explore, build, measure, learn, and then scale. Okay. So that is the journey of Epic through SAFe. Now, building portfolio backlog is a very big key to success actually, right? So whenever you are starting to build your portfolio backlog, what is the backlog item in a portfolio? Can anyone tell me?
Yeah, portfolio backlog, epic, right?
Yeah. So you start, yeah. And in solutions, it is like capabilities, right?
Right. Capabilities.
And then when
On
it
the
comes to
solution level,
team backlog, it becomes story. So that's how it flows. Epic, sometimes it has themes, but theme is not there in scaled agile, so they don't define. So epic capabilities, features, and then
features
story.
and stuff.
Yeah. So you start building it. So you can use you can provide different solutions. The first and foremost solution I want to address it to begin with is, how am I building security into my whole system, right? Design thinking, do design thinking. What problem am I trying to solve? So it can be a portfolio of solutions. Remember, it's not a solution train yet. It's a portfolio of solutions, right? So build the solution, uh, build the solutions using design thinking. Start with security, then risk management. Like security is the core thing these days. Before you build anything, people may attack you, right? So that's the core thing. So build like that. So because security is the outermost wall. So build from there. So come up with proper portfolio backlog. That's it. Any questions on this slide from anyone? Okay. That means we don't have any more questions. Yeah, we are running out of time. So after you did all these things, when you go to this scaled agile framework big picture, so you've done all these things. So flow is built into the system. Flow is there at every stage. So you build and then keep it flowing, keep it flowing. So that's the last thing. Keep it flow, let it flow. Okay. Then here I have provided the references. I also did a webinar, another webinar, which is based on cumulative flow diagram and how to ensure flow through this pipeline. If you get a chance, please watch that. And that's it. Thank you so much for your attendance today. Thank you so much.